The long-anticipated Arizona Cardinals 2025 schedule has now been announced. We're going to be diving into exactly which games the Arizona Cardinals have, weeks 1 through 18, where their bye week is, and how many primetime games they got. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. But today, we're going to be diving into the full Arizona Cardinals 2025 schedule. And yes, this has kind of become a big event amongst the NFL fans because now the NFL is doing it to where, like, they're not even giving us a schedule until 5 p.m. Arizona time, 8 p.m. Eastern, right? So we were able to kind of piece together the Arizona Cardinals, 2025 schedule with all the reports that we ended up seeing out there. And obviously, huge shout out here to NFL Nerd on X/Twitter. They do a fantastic job over there with providing a great graphic and a great graph and kind of making it easy on the eye. So it's kind of a little, easy to kind of follow along. But yes, we now have the Arizona Cardinals full schedule before it's going to be announced at 5 p.m. Arizona time. So let's go and get started here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and dive right into exactly what it looks like. Now, obviously, this is a big year for the Arizona Cardinals, and I think a lot of us know that here as Arizona Cardinal fans. We're all kind of expecting playoffs, right? Playoffs or bust. And I'm not going to lie to you, looking at the teams that we're playing this year compared to last year, it's night and day different. Like, it's night and day different. The Cardinals this year, the competition is not the same. Within the first 6 games of last year, we played five playoff teams. Like, it's insane. Like, we didn't think the Commanders were going to be a playoff team. They were, right? The Lions, playoff team. The Bills, playoff team. Rams, playoff team, right? We had so many playoff teams that were playing in 2024 that it kind of got the best of us at the end of the year, right? So now, completely different. We have one of the easiest schedules per the NFL in terms of strength of schedule. So let's go and dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go and dive right into it. So now, we're going to be talking about week 1 and where it starts. Multiple reports came out and said that the Cardinals are going to be opening up against the Saints. Now, this is going to be intriguing, right? Because the Saints, they don't have a lot of quarterback certainty when it comes down to that organization. Some people say that they might be the first overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft. I don't know if I want to go that far, but they just don't have a lot of quarterback certainty. And on top of that, Derek Carr ended up retiring about a week or two ago. So that just kind of adds to the what are they going to do for their future, right? So we're going to open it up week 1 versus the Saints. That is going to be a road game. Then we're going to go ahead in week 2 versus the Panthers. That's going to be our home opener for the Arizona Cardinals. And I want some freaking payback against those Panthers that pretty much put a knife in our playoff chances last year, right? So we hopefully we get revenge in week 2 versus the Panthers. That's going to be a home game. Then week 3 is going to be an away game. So we got our first division matchup in week 3 versus the 49ers. We are going to Santa Clara and playing over there. And guess what? Ding, 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 ding. First primetime game of the year for the Cardinals starts in week 4. Now, that's going to be a home game for the Arizona Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. Man, let's go. Let's go. Now, we got to get them payback, too. We got to get payback on those Seahawks as well because they ended up sweeping us last year. We haven't forgot. So, week 4 versus the Seahawks, Thursday Night Football, first primetime game of the year. That is at home. And then we're going to stay at home for week 5 and play the Titans, the Tennessee Titans. So, that's going to be pretty fun. Cameron Ward coming to State Farm Stadium. I would rather get those rookie QBs earlier in their season. Hopefully, there's still a little bit of a struggle, and he hasn't found his footing yet. So for the Cardinals to obviously get a better opportunity to get a W there. So Titans week 5. Week 6 is going to be the Colts. So we're going to be going all the way to Indianapolis. That is going to be an away game for the Arizona Cardinals. That's kind of one of those teams as well that there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes down to the quarterback as well. They had a lot of high hopes for Anthony Richardson. He's not really panned out to the level that the fans wanted him to. So that's going to be pretty interesting over there. But we are going to be making our way up north in week 6 versus the Colts, which is going to be an away game. Then moving on over to week 7, and that's going to be the Green Bay Packers at home. Love to see it. They absolutely demolished us last year in 2024. So I do want some payback on the Green Bay Packers at home. Then we actually get our bye week in week 8, which is actually kind of refreshing. We've been getting our bye week somewhere around the realm of like, it was like 12, like week 10 to 12. Like, so I'm okay with week 8. Like, we've had a week 8 bye within the past like 4 or 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. But I always kind of felt like it was in the second half, right? Where it almost kind of felt like things kind of collapsed for the Cardinals. So I'm actually glad that it's, you know, week 8 for the Cardinals. So that's going to be our bye week. And then we move on over to week 9, which is going to be a long week for the Arizona Cardinals. And we're playing against the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas on, guess what? Monday Night Football. Ding, 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 ding. Another primetime game for the Arizona Cardinals. So far, 2 primetime games. That's going to be the Seattle Seahawks in week 4 and in week 9 on Monday Night Football versus the Dallas Cowboys. And then we're going to go ahead and go over to week 10. We got the Seattle Seahawks, and that's going to be up in Seattle. And then we have a little bit of a stretch for home games. That's going to be week 11 for the 49ers. That's going to be here at home. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 12. That is also going to be a home game as well. Then we got Baker Mayfield versus Kyler Murray, week 13 away. That's going to be pretty fun. Every time, we get those OU guys playing each other, Kyler Murray does have Baker's number, but this is going to be interesting to see how it all works out, especially, with the Buccaneers, which are probably going to be a playoff team this year. So week 13 is going to be the Buccaneers. That's going to be away. Then we got the Rams late. We got the Rams week 14. That's going to be at home. Then the Texans away on week 15. And then the Falcons at home on week 16. And this is where it gets a little tough. Here. So week 17, we got potentially a Saturday or Sunday game versus the Bengals. That's going to be an away game. And then we're going to close up the season versus the Rams in week 18, which is also going to be an away game. So the stretch probably weeks 13 to 18 are going to be pretty tough, with the exception of maybe the Falcons. I don't really know what the Falcons are going to be. I'm going to be real, but the Buccaneers are a tough team. The Rams are probably going to want to fight for the NFC West. Texans with CJ Stroud's a tough team. Falcons, like I said, I don't really know too much about what they're going to do this year, but the Bengals with Joe Burrow at the end, they're probably going to fight for some playoff chances. They're going to want to win. And then of course, maybe for the division at the end of the season with the Rams at week 18. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That is going to be with the what the 2025 Arizona Cardinals full schedule is. I'm excited. Overall, I think it's a really good schedule for the Cardinals from top to bottom. I like the way that it starts with the Saints, the Panthers, and getting your first division matchup in week 3. And then in week 4, let me go ahead and just do a real quick sharing of my screen so you can take a look to see what I'm looking at here. I ended up making a quick little spreadsheet here on Google, and this is exactly what we ended up, making here on our end. Let's go and make this a little smaller here. There it is. Perfect. So yeah, this is exactly what we ended up making here. So just to kind of give you a little bit more of a graphic looking. So week 1, week 2, week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's that bye week in week 8, week 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then 17 and 18. The Rams game in week 18 as well. I forgot to mention that is also a TBD. I don't know if it's going to be a Saturday game potentially on that one. Maybe, potentially, but I know 17 versus the Bengals is potentially going to be a Saturday or Sunday, but they're both TBDs in terms of time, right? In terms of time, they're both going to be TBDs. And it makes sense that they always kind of do something along those lines where it's just like, they don't really know what's going to happen, but anything can be flexed, especially if somebody's going for a playoff run or a division run. They like to kind of flex those games to make them a little bit more interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals 2025 full schedule? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day and go Cardinals.